The activism and diligence of the younger generation is what fuels the necessity to preserve a chance for the future. Within the line of work as an aspiring reporter, I found that student journalists are a key role in exposing truth where it may be found. And as somebody who has had their start in a school newspaper, I'm able to find relation to another student journalist, except this one had managed to expose a corrupt system all by herself while she was still in high school. This student journalist is named Rebecca Rambam. It was all due to her wit and perseverance that took down a multi-million-dollar embezzlement scandal happening in her school before any major news organization received word of it. Travel back with me to the year 2002. Rebecca was a sophomore at Roslyn High School, less than 1 hour east from Stony Brook University. She was working as a contributing writer for her school paper, the Hilltop Beacon. One day, Rebecca's editor and friend, Samantha Floan, had assigned her to write a story about a skywalk that the school was planning to construct. Rebecca began approaching the story at a financial angle, which revealed to her that there were problems with the school's district spending. As it turned out, there was a bunch of supply orders from the school that were never properly completed, and large amounts of consulting fees that had been paid out to numerous companies, which were only phony names. Across one name that had a listed address, Word Power Tech, all the way in Manhattan, where they reportedly were receiving $803,000 per year from Roslyn High School. What reason could the school possibly have for sending a six-figure annual fee to one company alone? Many student journalists would be unable to pursue a more difficult route in order to gain full context and clarity, but not Rebecca. I have always admired her determination as a journalist to find the answer, which is why Rebecca traveled to Manhattan to confront the mysterious source and get some proper leads. She ends up finding the address listed as a plain apartment building. An unknown individual answered the door from the apartment number listed for Word Power Tech. But it was only one individual. Confused, Rebecca left. However, upon exiting, who else would Rebecca run into other than her superintendent, Frank Tassone, walking directly into the same apartment? That is when it hit her. Word Power was created by Tassone as a means to collect funds from the school. The man in which he had visited in the apartment had turned out to be his husband, Stephen Signorelli, also in on the embezzlement. Frank would confront Rebecca outside of their school in order to warn her that there could be great backlash for exposing the story to the public. Like the great journalists in the nation, Rebecca was not going to be sideswept by idle threats, and decided to bring the story to her editors and publish it to the entire school. Frank had gone to William Costigan, the school board president and real estate broker, and asked him not to confirm the story until their next school budget was approved. He was not heeded, and Rebecca's story had made a ginormous splash. Superintendent Tassone stealing from the school had been made public. The information and records that Rebecca had included in her story was proper evidence of his embezzlement. Along with Pamela Gluckin, his assistant, and Phil Metzger, the school auditor, the authorities had a warrant for his arrest, and he was taken into custody. According to the Hilltop Beacon, the total amount that Frank, Pamela, and Phil had embezzled for years had accumulated to $11 million. Frank would be released in 2010. With Rebecca's unbelievable breakthrough, she would go on to become the editor-in-chief at the Hilltop Beacon for the rest of her high school career. She is best known as the student who uncovered the greatest school theft in American history.
Often when I think of the greatest journalists in the world, what comes to mind are usually those who have had decades of writing experience in order to create some of the most thought-provoking and illustrious details of their generations. But when I think of Rebecca Rambam, I can't help but feel a sense of awe towards this individual who, as a high school student, had managed to defy that expectation. She tackled a major story before any of the larger paper publications could get their hands on it. Had she not had reported it at all, who knows how many more millions Frank and the others would have snuck out from under the school. What Rebecca manages to illustrate is that there is a sense of achievement in that sense of seeking, breaking through the surface of a lukewarm story in order to find real information on a large factor is about what it means to be a journalist. And as it turns out, one doesn't need the accolades or positions at top brands in order to produce something that's truly groundbreaking. And Rambam is living proof of that.
The young activists of seeking truth and reporting it, such as Rebecca, are among those that personally inspire me to be a better journalist.